trabajar en esto todos los malditos días y me gustaría hacerlo porque te quiero.
Tú no me amabas tanto como yo te amaba.
Y ahora, en MotivActiva, hablemos de relaciones y divorcio.
Un podcast de Yanira Mendoza.
El material informativo brindado en este podcast no pretende ni debe tomarse como consejería legal. Contacta a su abogado de confianza para obtener asesoramiento sobre algún problema legal específico. Good morning, everyone. This is Yanira Mendoza, your divorce coach, but I do not train you to get you divorced. I like that. So this is my first program in English. Yes, of many. Thank you. So as you probably know, English is not my first language. So I am a little bit, shaky on doing programs in English because I'm afraid that I'm going to pronounce things wrong or I'm not going to say the right thing. But, I think my guest today deserves me speaking English because she has this huge testimonial of her life. I met her many years ago, and I'm gonna let her tell the story. But I think her testimonial deserves to be heard for people that are probably going through the same thing, or trying to come out of a situation like the one she went through. So hopefully, this testimonial can help you. And that's my mission, help people to go through tough times. My specialty are divorces, but, I can also deal with people with, grieving processes if they have lost mom, dad, husband, or any other relative, jobs, A lot of people think that losing a job is not a big deal, but it is when you have been there forever. And then suddenly they tell you they don't need you anymore, or the company is going to close, or things like that, of that nature. So my job is to help you, guide you, and help you to your recovery, because there's nothing better than being your best shape emotional in life. Life is so beautiful, so you have to learn how to live it and deal with tough situations. So welcome, Selene. Selene.
Yes, welcome. Thank you so much. Again, guys, listen, she's going to do a fabulous job in English. Spanish is not, it is my first, but you lose it once you don't use it so much.
You don't practice it.
Literally. So we're both nervous, but we're both going to do amazing today. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
I really, really appreciate you.
Of course. I know you live in Louisiana, and I really appreciate the fact that you had to drive all the way here just to be with me.
Oh.
That means so much to me. You have no idea. I don't know how to explain this, but from the first moment that I saw you, I felt a deep connection to you. Okay. But I'm gonna let you tell the audience how we met so many years ago. Go ahead.
So my name is Selene Chavez Thibodeaux. I met my beautiful angel, who I've always called an angel. I've always called you my angel. Actually, it has been 13 years ago when I walked into that office. And I'm going to say it in Spanish. I always tell everybody, me veía bien tirada. When you're going through something, and that something was a divorce, we were talking about this a little while ago, and I had to ask, how did you know? And when you said you seen my pain, I agree, and I thank you for seeing my pain, because of you, I'm able to tell a testimony. I give it first to my Lord and Savior, because He's the one that brought me to you. So let's get started, because I know it's going to be an amazing. I have to tell you my testimony because of you. 13 years ago, I did not know exactly what I was going to do. 2 daughters, a husband that did not want to be married anymore. And in my culture, being Mexican, de Reynosa, Tamaulipas, you don't look for a divorce.
Of course not.
You look to fix things.
Exactly.
You keep your family together. And now in my situation, and it was a family member that told me, sister, you need to go look at something called, I guess back then was MySpace, if you remember
my
this.
goodness, of course, yes.
So I didn't know anything about like Facebook, MySpace, and all that good stuff or whatever until I went and I looked. And then that's where I noticed that our Valentine's flowers that were meant for me, I think, were meant for someone else. And I looked at the picture and I didn't recognize the woman. But again, you open your eyes and then you start thinking, oh my gosh,
Yes.
what am I supposed to do here? Now, ladies, I will tell you, and this is the truth, we don't look. We don't stop to actually, because we think everything is so
Yes.
beautiful.
Or you don't want to see.
I agree.
Yes, you don't want to.
I agree.
You don't want to believe that that is happening to you.
You don't want to believe that that's happening to you. And when the threats of, okay, I'm going to go file for divorce today. I'm going to go file for divorce today. I can tell you for 6 months, because I kept the diary, for 6 months, the threats of, I'm going to go file today. I'm going to go file today. So I was that person that was calling the city of Houston, Harris County. Did my husband go file today? Did my husband?
Oh my!
And they literally would recognize my voice. Well, when the good Lord said, "Today is the day. Today is the day." You walk into this attorney's office and you figure out something. I walked in and the most beautiful face that I seen was yours.
Oh my God!
Was yours?
Thank you.
And at that time, you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. You know, you have little ones. You have little ones. And
yes.
Where am I going to go? It's not the fact of being afraid of doing it by yourself, but you were doing it you were doing it with someone for 19 years.
Yes.
19 years is a long time. And in those 19 years, it would be something like as simple as I'm going to the gym at midnight. And one of my daughters would say, "Dad, I want to go with you." "Oh, no, I'm not going to go after all."
Oh my goodness.
Then you kind of start thinking something's just not right. Something's just not right. Money was never an issue because I would go and pay the bills and I would bring the receipts back and it would show, everything I paid or what have you. But when you're not looking to see, I guess you have your eyes closed. I don't know how else to put it.
Well, I do. It's trust.
Agree.
You trust that person and you will never in a million years think that something else would be going on. Yes.
You're right. No, that's exactly what it was. It was trust. So by that time, I just didn't want to do it anymore. And so I called my little sister and I said, "Sis, I need a favor." I said, "Mom and Dad are going to be very upset with me because again,
right.
my mom and dad,
that's the tradition.
Our
culture,
It is in our culture. Literally, it is in our culture."
Yes.
I had to call my dad and I told my daddy, I said, "Daddy, te tengo malas noticias." And I have to say, I love my dad. I thank him because he said, "Mika, you should have done this a long time ago."
Oh my, wow.
So my dad must have known. I think it's the craziest thing. But do you feel like it seems like everybody else knows but you?
Exactly.
Like everyone else knows the story but you. And I will say I have no bad feelings over my ex-husband or whatever. I have made peace with it. And we'll get into that. But it was time.
Right.
They came knocking at my door and said, "Listen, you have to get out of this house. You haven't paid." And I'm like, "What?"
Oh my God.
So again,
yes,
you close your eyes, your heart still loves,
of course,
and your heart wants family. So a few things, started notice. Now I opened my eyes, started noticing a few things.
Right.
But what I didn't notice was that for 2 years, my ex-husband was recording our conversations.
Wow.
Don't ask me how. I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Did you know?
I did not know until the day of court when they started playing. And of course,
wow.
The good Lord knows what he's doing with me because I always tell them I'm best friends with Jesus. He knows what he's doing. But the good thing about it is that I will remember the day that you told me. And I
Uh-huh.
guess you may not remember this, but I can tell you every single thing that you said to me, I remember from
Wow.
heart. You explained to me, there's going to be a lot.
Mm.
He's going to come at you with everything. You just be ready. I wasn't ready. I wasn't that person because we close
Right.
our eyes because we want to save our marriage. We want to
Yes.
save it. But again, I opened my eyes. My sister said, let's go get on your motorcycle for I had a Harley Davidson, got on my Harley Davidson, went to go sell it and got my money, went to go to the office, to Julio's office.
Uh-huh.
And I think after you spoke to me,
Mm-hmm.
I went home, looked in the mirror. And just a little while ago, you had said, because I had to ask you, what did you see? What do you see? And you said, I seen your pain.
Mm-hmm.
That pain was real.
Of course. Yes.
I have always said divorce, it was a funeral.
Mm.
It was really a funeral for me. And I know I'm going like in a circle, but I have to tell you the reason why. Sometimes your testimonies aren't for you.
Right. Totally agree with you.
Maybe your testimonies are going to be for your viewers or my viewers or anything
Yes.
like that. I told myself I wasn't going to cry, didn't I? I
It's
told myself
okay.
that because you have to open chapters like this at
Mhm.
times. And again, I don't hold any grudges against
Right.
absolutely anybody. Divorce is really tough.
It is.
Divorce is really, really tough. It is something that I don't wish anybody to go through, but I don't want you to stay in something.
Exactly.
I have to be realistic and tell you,
That is so true.
you don't have to stay. Us as women,
Mm-hmm.
we don't see how strong we are until we hear it from somebody else's mouth, or we see someone like you as an example of, man, I'm doing this.
Mhm.
The tools that you gave me, everything that I had to really endure.
Yes.
Nothing becomes reality until the first day of court.
Yes.
So we'll start with that.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's so interesting that you say that, because a lot of people, I work for Julio, the attorney, for almost 20 years. And everybody will say, that person in court wasn't my husband.
No.
I don't know who that was, but it wasn't my husband. I did not marry that person. And it's expected to happen that way. That's why I prepare the clients. And, in all those years, I saw so much pain, so much, I don't want to say ignorance.
No,
'cause
I have to say that. I do have to say that word, because I have to tell you that's one of the words that I actually wrote down in one of my journals, because it is ignorance.
Yes.
That as women, we don't have to say it's okay.
Yes.
We don't have to keep saying that. So I have to say ignorance is a good word to use.
And also, we don't do our homework, before we getting into this situation. So there's a lot of people who have lost so much money in the process, besides their emotions, and besides their heart being broken, besides being their kids suffering. So it's a situation where everything comes together and hits you in the face, like you have no idea. So that's why I decided just to, come out of that office, because I thought to myself, okay, if hundreds of people are, going through the same thing in this office, I can only imagine the thousands out there. They need help. They need some type of guidance. And, a lot of people say, well, a divorce coach, what is that? It's just a divorce. No, it's not just a divorce. It's a life-changing event that if you're not ready or prepared for that, it's just, it goes crazy. It
does.
every which way because you're not prepared. Our mind is so powerful that when you tell him, when you tell somebody, okay, these are the possibilities, your mind it's already active and know that might happen. As if you face all this on your own and don't know what's coming,
And
it
don't know.
hits you
It
harder.
does. It does. And I can tell you, not so much of you having to make a list, not so much of you having to go and start investigating, go and start and doing all this stuff. Things you already know. They say women have a good intuition.
Yes, the sixth sense.
It is. It is. And we do have that.
Yes.
My mother, she's in heaven now, but I can tell you, she's the one that had told me, Mia, no eres el primero, no el último. Meaning you're not the
exactly.
first nor the last. It just depends on where you come out of this. And to finally have my parents,
Mhm.
que son mexicanos, tell me,
Mhm.
you've done well. You've done
Wow.
well. You're going to be okay. I can
Yes.
tell you, I walked out with absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Except for myself. I walked out of that house with my daughters. Didn't know exactly where I was going to go.
Mhm.
But once you gave me that hug and you said it was going to be okay,
Yes.
I knew it was going to be okay.
Yes.
Again, we were meant to meet.
Yes.
I feel it. The good Lord said, Selene, you're not going to do this by yourself.
That is amazing.
Because you don't have to do it by yourself. You don't have to do it by yourself. I'm excited. I'm so excited for you that you become not just a coach, but you become a friend.
Yes.
When I seen the flyer that you put up, I'm going to have to tell my testimony. That song that you put on there, Survivor.
Uh-huh.
We don't know the lyrics or anything like that to it, but I can tell you, when that judge, at first my ex-husband wanted to ask if we could do 6 months of counseling and this and that or whatever, but my heart knew I can't go backwards. I couldn't go backwards.
Wow.
And so Julio was outside with me and he says, what do you want to do? And I would remember, you just remember things like this. And I said, I need a divorce today. The good Lord needs to let me out. I got to do this. And I would see your face. I would see your smile. And then Julio, of course, I would see Mr. Julio and he's like, we got you. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was perfectly fine. Yes. Again, there's a lot of things that I can go back and tell you of absolutely everything that happened to me. But what I like to share with you is a good testimony of saying that I was divorced.
Mhm.
I didn't die.
Right.
I didn't even go home and cry. I cried because you said it was going to be okay. And Julio did an amazing job.
Mhm.
I walked out of there, got into a car that was a blessing for me. And then Survivor came on.
Wow.
Well, let me tell you, that's why I say when you played that song,
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I knew
that is
that
just
that was
so
going to be
crazy.
it was going to be okay.
That is so interesting.
It's a testimony.
Yes.
Because women like myself, we feel this little. And again, we all have a different way of dealing with our divorce, our separations. I just felt this little.
Yes.
And then whenever I went back to see you, if you can remember correctly, that I called you to the window and I showed you a car that was given to me.
Yes. And we're going there.
We definitely got to go there.
We're going there. So to wrap this part, the divorce process, what would you tell somebody that it's probably going through the same thing, the feeling that something is not right?
The feelings that you have, and this is the only way that I can explain it to you all. That gut that tells you, just check the accounts.
Uh-huh. Yes.
I'm not saying go so much detail into your cell phones and this and that or whatever. When those text messages come in at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and it's not work.
Right. Or when they tell you from now on, I'll take care of the finances.
That's exactly.
You don't have to worry about anything.
Became with us. It became that way.
Yes.
when he took over the accounts and you're not able to log in, I can tell you what worked for me was that I had good sisters. My sisters were amazing to tell me all this stuff about social media. There's nothing wrong with you going and looking at all your husband's or your partner's social media and stuff like that. And if it doesn't look right, it's just not right. Again, the accounts were closed. Money was taken out, and I found all that out in court until you told me to go to my little, my list and stuff. And that's when I started opening my eyes. But it's right here.
Yes.
It's right here and right here. There's nothing wrong with getting a divorce. Let me make that very clear. There is nothing wrong with getting a divorce. You don't want to be miserable for the rest of your life.
When you know it's time.
When it's time. Yes, ma'am. When it's time, it is time.
It is time.
Keep your eyes open. Keep your heart open. Everything just fell into place with me because again, I had a good circle to lead me to say, listen, this is what's going on. There was another woman involved in our divorce. Again, everything falls into place when you open your eyes. You open your eyes and you open your heart. It's there. It's true. It is true. I didn't want to believe it.
We never wanted to,
because we don't
to think
no
that it could happen to us, that, something is going on in our marriage, especially when you have lived kind of the same amount of time with that person, half of your life.
Yes.
And then you think that, by that going, your life, it's also going, and it's not true. That's when you start leaving.
That's exactly what you said.
That's where we're going.
That's exactly what you told me. Yes, ma'am. I remember
that's when you start leaving. And we're going to talk now that we had closed that chapter of the divorce. It was a good experience, but it was a very educative experience because now you learn so many things that you didn't know before. And, that helps you grow as a person, that helps you grow as a human being. And that helps you to find those signs, on your future relationships and what to tell your kids if they go through that. So
that was the hard
part.
It's
a learning experience.
It is. It is a very, but you're learning.
Yes.
And you're going to make it, and you'll make
it. Of course. And we want to talk now about the healing process. I know it's a journey. It's not something that you just snap your fingers and then you weld the next day. It's a process. It takes time. But oh my God, when you really heal, the blessings that,
and again, you get emotional because nobody wants to end a marriage. Your life with someone is supposed to be forever.
Right.
But when the good Lord says, listen, it's going to be okay. You're going to be just fine. There's happiness.
Yes, totally.
I
totally agree. So let me ask you, what effect caused in your life meeting me?
A lot. You were God sent, and I have to say that.
Thank you.
The hurt is there. The tears are there. You truly changed my life. You didn't let me die.
Thank you.
That's the only way I can put it for you, is that you didn't let me die. Because it felt that way. It felt that way a lot. Having someone to listen, someone to tell you, this is what you got to do. Let's take care of it together. We got this together.
Yes. That's one of my favorite phrases. We got this, because we do.
And that's how I knew I wasn't by myself, Again, you've made a huge impact in my life. Just by those words, you're going to be okay.
Yes.
But next time you're going to come dressed up, you're not going to be looking all tirada. I remember that. I do remember
Yes.
that. And I love.
You know, one of the things that happen when you are going through so much is that you forget about yourself.
Completely.
You forget your hair, you forget your makeup,
Complete.
you forget to do,
Completely.
you know, the normal things that we do on our everyday life.
Completely.
So, you know, I tell my clients, you know, the first thing you have to do is look good. Because when you see in the mirror, you don't see that sad person. You don't see that, you know, it doesn't reflect what you're going through. You have to switch it around. You have to change. You have to play music. You know, there are so many ways that it will not take the pain away, but it's going to make it easier.
It does. It does. It
Yes.
does. And you did. You made it a little bit easier.
Yes.
You know, I'm not going to say it was the easiest,
Right.
because you have to go through this, you know, but you did. Yeah.
Yep. As coaches, we are, you know, we're supposed to hold somebody's hands while going through the whole situation. In my case, well, you know, I've been blessed with the knowledge of working in a law firm, so I can kind of tell you what to expect in court, how to talk to your attorney,
That's exactly it.
how to behave, what to do and what not to do in terms of recording conversations, or what to say, what to text, because all that can be used
It
against
sure
you
can. Yes,
court.
It
So,
sure can.
you know, it helps to have somebody that tells you, watch out, don't even go there, because that can be a bad thing in the future. So, and besides that, you know, the healing, the emotional healing, that, you know, the crying, it's okay to cry.
It is perfectly okay to cry.
But don't make it a, you know, a normal thing, you know, just a structure is very important for me. So I will tell my clients, okay, use this time to grieve. But after that, life continues and you have to keep going, especially if you have children that are watching you and are seeing everything you do and say. So, you know, if you want to save a trauma for your kids, you have to learn how to behave in front of them.
Exactly.
So my job is to, you know, to guide you through that whole experience. And I know it's not an easy thing to go through, but it's not an impossible one.
Exactly.
So,
Agree
yes.
on that. 100% agree on that.
So how long did your healing process lasted?
I'm going to say it's still, because, you know, we have kids together.
Right.
We have grandkids together.
Mhm.
I'm going to say maybe, give or take, it took me about 2, maybe 3 years to really not be mad. Let's
Right,
say that. Really
right.
not be mad, because sometimes we get mad for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
But I'm going to say maybe about 2 or 3 years. And again, it was not so much of the crying, and it's just not being mad.
Right.
I don't know what healing would be,
Mhm.
but I just didn't want to be mad anymore. I didn't want to keep thinking about what you did to me.
Right.
So, yeah, but
And you know what they say, that sometimes whatever we think it's anger, it's pain.
agree.
You know,
100%.
you know,
it
it's pain.
is.
So that's why it's important to sit down and really go through those emotions to find out if it's really anger or you still hurting, you know.
One or the other, yes.
And a lot of people have the concept that, you know, I will not forgive you, but sometimes we just have to forgive ourselves for the choices we made.
Agree.
Because sometimes it's not just one side's fault, you know.
I can tell you, after 2 weeks, because I had no choice.
Mhm.
You live in a bitter life, you're going to continue to be upset. So
Yes.
I made the choice of calling my ex-husband and telling him, "Hey, what?" I was like, "Hi." I said, "I just want you to know that I forgive you,
Mhm.
and I hope that you can forgive me. We move past this."
Right.
And it was the nicest. I apologize to you as well.
Mhm.
And then we move forward. You know, again, we see each other because of our children and our
Right,
grandchildren,
right.
but you make peace with yourself.
Exactly.
And it feels good. It feels good.
Totally.
It feels amazing.
Totally. And this is what I tell the clients, you know, that they have kids together, because most of them think that when the children are 18, that's the end of
Oh,
it.
no,
No,
no.
it's not. That's why you have to make peace early, the earliest
Yes,
possible,
yes.
because life goes on, life continues. And if you have kids, you're going to have weddings, you're going to have
You're gonna have
grandkids, you're going to
literally,
have family reunions that you're going to have to see each other. And,
literally, I've always said, do your kids stop being your kids at 18? No, they don't. They don't
Right.
stop being your children at 18. Your children are your children forever. And so regardless, stepmom, stepdad,
Yes.
we all have to get along. And that's the
Exactly.
good thing about it, is that I have to honestly say, on my part, it's been amazing. We
Good.
all get along, and that's a good thing, because forgiveness is there.
that is so
Not
true.
overnight. It's not overnight.
I know. So I'm going to ask you this. Do you agree with the phrase, the sun always shines after the storm?
Agree 100%. Yes, it does.
I see your eyes
Yes,
sparkle.
yes, they
Tell
did
us
that.
what happened after that divorce.
You always say that. I don't understand why people do this. After we get a divorce or what have you, do you ever plan on getting married again? That's the question that comes up. Do you ever want to get married again?
Yes.
At that time, no, you're
Of
not
course.
you're not thinking, because you're just trying to heal.
Right.
On my part, as my testimony, the good Lord knew what he was doing on my part.
Mhm.
I will tell you, I was left with nothing. And when I met someone, I always call him my angel as well.
Aw.
I do. Roger has been, I've been married now for 12. We just celebrated our 12th year anniversary. And I never forget, when I signed my papers and everything, I had already told who is my husband now,
Mhm.
listen, I'm still married,
Uh-huh.
but if you wait for me,
Exactly.
check it out. I'm here.
Yes.
Signed my papers, and I didn't have a place to go.
Wow.
And this man got a house for myself and my 2 daughters.
That's amazing.
Next thing I know, he's like, "Hey, I know you don't even know me like this, but you're not going to be sleeping on that floor." And so he said, "Just let me see one of your family members can help me." And I was
Yes.
like, "As long as you know, like, I'm not ready for this." But he brought everything that we needed. My kids had their beds. I had a bed. I had pillows, dishes, everything. He has been God sent.
Yes.
To me.
I
12
remember
years
when
ago.
you told me
Do
about
you
him,
remember that?
you were kind of at the end of your divorce, and you say, I met this guy. And then there was a story of the gas station, right? You met him at the,
Yes. Well, we had said we had seen each other at a gas station, and I told him, if you wait for me, and if
Mhm.
we ever run into each other again, we'll try it.
Okay.
I walked into the gas station. We both looked at each other. Oh my God, like, this is not real. Finding
Wow.
out that he was going through a divorce, his divorce,
Yes.
his divorce is final and things like that. Again, you don't think, am I going to get married again? Am
Yeah,
I going to
of
be by
course.
myself?
Yeah.
Am I beautiful enough to find someone? Because you just don't think. And the good Lord, no, he knew what he was doing, because I
Yes.
remember telling you, I don't know what to do.
Yes.
Like, and you're going to be okay. Give it a chance here.
Yes.
I'm glad I did. I'm glad I listened. And
I also remember, that the last days of that divorce were very tough on you, because you didn't even have a car. And
didn't even
then
have
a
a
few
job.
months
Do you remember
later,
that?
yes,
Didn't even have a job.
I remember. And this is very important for our audience to know. You had a degree
Yes, yes. So
as teacher,
I
but
can tell you,
yes,
you don't, because again, in my culture, you take care of the household, you take care of your
Mhm.
husband, you take care of your kids. If you get a job, great, wonderful, but your kids and family comes first. I was
Right.
teaching, and I went to college. I gave up my degree just because I want to go back to school, because just I want to do something different in my
Mhm.
life. But you're left with no vehicle. I had $10 in my name.
Yes. Yes. It was tough.
Yeah, it was. It was really tough.
Yes. But you know what? The way I see it is just God's way of telling you, just enjoy this, because something bigger is coming.
It was.
And I remember a few months later, and you say, I want you to come with me
Do you
downstairs.
remember? That's what I'm telling you.
Yes.
You really have been God sent.
Thank you.
whatever, and this is to your audience as well. Everyone needs you in their life, and in bringing you downstairs to show you the car that this man has got from me that I wasn't going to walk.
Yes.
And I was in the next day I called you because I had a job.
Yes.
And then the court awarded me my kids and stuff. But everything has a way
Yes.
of being where it's supposed to be. Again, you got to keep your ears open, your eyes open. You got to keep that heart open as well.
And the most important thing, your connection
With
the universe, because
it really is.
Without him,
it really is.
We're
nothing. And that's the truth. And the craziest thing about it is that it's so hard for us to say things about God and this because we don't know how the universe is going to take it. But I can tell you, the good Lord is my that's my savior. And he sent you to me for a reason. Again, I will see that smile. And when I showed you that little red Mazda that I got, do you remember that?
I remember that. Yes.
Again, I was driving to my job. I had a job at a school district. Everything just kind of
fell into place.
It fell into place. It did. It fell into place.
And I love that you're saying that, because for many people, they think that, that divorce is the end of everything.
It feels like it.
Yes, no, it is. And that's why you have to have some kind of support. If you don't have a coach like me, at least find support at church. Because I remember me sending you to a support group at a church. Yes. And, it's important to have that communication, that support from friends, family, and people that, wants the best for you.
Yes.
It's important for you to feel supported at those moments, and, to have that faith that everything, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Faith was the hardest because you don't know what you, even though we say we don't know, we really do. We just don't want to accept it. I didn't want to accept that I was going to be getting divorced. I didn't want to accept that my family was going to be torn apart.
Mm-hmm.
I accepted it when I came into your office and I seen how beautiful you were. I was like, that's an angel right there, Lord. Thank you.
Thank you.
So at that point, again, we don't want to know, but we have to.
Yes.
It's life and it's reality. Divorce is reality.
Totally. And one of the things I do now, that I'm not part of that office, is the same thing. Hold your hand, guide you through the things that might happen in the future. And also, I tell everyone that I'm a holistic coach because I make sure that everything goes in order. Your spirituality is very important. Your physical is very important. Go do something with yourself, do your hair, make yourself pretty, make yourself presentable, because you never know what can happen. You could meet the love of your life and you don't even know.
And you don't even know it. I'm so glad I had my hair done then. I really did.
Yes. And also to know a little bit about what you're going through in the legal department, because you got to have paperwork ready. You got to have questions for your attorney. And if you don't know what to ask, it's easily, money wasted, because you go to their offices to cry and to spill your guts out of how bad you feel, how's everything going wrong, but you don't ask the correct questions. So whenever you're paying an attorney hourly, you got to have a list of questions. And if you don't know what to ask, come see me or call me.
You got to.
And I'll tell you what to ask, what to say, how to act in court, how to address, your partner. Because when you're angry, you say things that you don't mean.
Yes, you do.
And that is not a good thing, because they can use that against you. So, everything has an order, but you got to have the information. And the information is there. You just have to look for it.
And that's where it begins. And that's the truth. Again, we all don't want to go through a divorce. Our lives are supposed to be simple and with our partners for the rest of our lives.
Totally.
But when something doesn't add up, it just doesn't add up. You know? So again, I thank you, because that's what I needed that, I needed that.
So one of the last questions that I have for you, have you forgiven?
Yes. Oh, yes. It's amazing now how when we do see each other, everybody gets a hug. How are you guys? Be careful getting home.
Yes.
I'm not saying that we're all just going to hang out
and be besties.
and best of friends,
All right.
because you do remember.
Yes.
You remember absolutely every single time you see your children, every single time that anybody comes around, that friends that used to hang out with you.
Right.
But you learn how to deal with it.
Right.
And I can tell you, yes, I am so at peace with myself first. And I forgive my ex-husband. And like I tell my husband now, Roger is my certainty, because I know this, but I've always said this, the love for my ex-husband will always be there. We have
Right.
children together. Again, I forgive him, and I'm praying that he forgives me. But we've moved forward, and
Of course.
I'm loving life now. I'm learning that
That's
life is
beautiful.
okay, you know?
And I love that you say that, because you had to overcome a sickness not too long ago.
I did.
Tell us about that.
Well, 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer on my right breast. I've made the decision because Miss Selene.
Oh, yes.
I don't like to stay down. It's not appearance for me. It's not so important in your heart. And so I made a decision not to have reconstructive surgery. MD Anderson was amazing. Shout out to my oncologist, Dr. Wiggins. She was beautiful. Breast cancer runs in my family, and I made a huge decision to go. I caught it very early, but
how did you find out?
Well,
You do?
self-exam. But in my family, my mother had it, and they were testing us every 6 months. I had to go get a biopsy.
Okay.
And so I made the decision that I wasn't going to keep going to back to MD Anderson to get a biopsy on my right breast. Well, the year that I took off to be with my mother, whenever she was passing away, I missed my appointment.
Oh.
And I came back, and my husband and I went to the doctor, and they said, "You're going to have to go. Let's go. We're going to have to do a biopsy again."
Okay.
I was tired of the biopsies. I was tired. And the news came, and when they tell you have cancer, it's the truth. It becomes, you think, I'm going to die. How long do I have? What do I got to do? Let me get my situation in order. But I thank the good Lord for all my team at MD Anderson.
And your strength.
I am. I have
And
to
your
say,
strength,
I
because
am.
a lot of people do not survive the news alone, because, they really think immediately that they're not going to make it. But you have to fight it, just like you fought for everything else.
Absolutely.
You have to fight it.
Because it's beautiful. Life is just truly beautiful. Someone had asked me the question, do you feel? And it was some kind of a weird question, but a truthful question. Do you feel as if you would have been with your first husband? Would the same situation occur? What have you? I would have said no. I think and no offense to my ex-husband whatsoever, because again, we are both on the same page. I really thank God.
Yes.
I really thank God that he put me with the person I'm supposed to be with, because this man has carried me. This man has carried me. This man has carried me. Roger has been an amazing.
So you see, life knows what it's doing
it does.
when take people from you.
It does. It really does.
I totally feel the same way. If that anything is to happen to me now, I think my ex-husband was a good man, but I don't think he will have the patience and the
yes, it's true.
Those caring ways for me. So I thank God for my new husband, David.
I do.
I love you, my love.
Yeah, no, Roger took very good care of me, and
That's beautiful.
My biggest thing was that once they take off my bandages, my husband was standing right there in front, and you have to keep looking, because you have to know, what are they going to see? What are they going to see?
Yeah.
And when he smiled and he said, "You're beautiful," that was
That's it.
that was great. Again, my oncologist did a fabulous job, and to me, I didn't need him. I'm okay.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
I'm still beautiful as can be, because
Of course you
I
are.
am.
Yes.
But it's nice to
Yes.
know that after divorce, you're not dying.
Of course not.
You're still going to live, and whatever the universe gives you, accept it.
Yes.
Accept it, and
sometimes it's even better than what you had.
it is, and it was.
Yes.
Again, all marriages aren't perfect. You have your ups and downs. My husband works 12 hours away. I miss him every day. But I didn't think I was going to be in a good situation, and I didn't think I would ever have someone come to me while I'm having my hair done in a beauty shop and come and kneel and propose to me. You know,
I know.
I didn't expect that. But we've been married 12 years, and it's been amazing, and we've gone through a lot. But we've gone through it together. So I can tell you that after divorce, life is really beautiful.
Yes.
It really, especially with someone like you.
Thank you.
I will always say,
thank you.
You have really been an angel. You have really been an angel
Thank
to
you.
me. And I'm grateful for that.
Thank you so much. And I always tell the story. Now you can put a face to the story that I tell, that I met this beautiful lady, you know, when she was going through the worst time of her life, and now she's the happiest. So for those out there that think that divorce is the end of everything, it's not true.
No.
It's just the end of an era for you.
Is.
But who knows what, you know, destiny has for you. It could be much, much better.
It is. And chapters, I will always say, one that writes a book is the best person that can tell their story.
Yes.
This chapter for me, I'm okay to open it just so I can learn from it and say, hey, back then, you remember back then, you know, you were in my chapter, you know, you're in my chapter for the rest of my life.
Thank you.
You know, so again,
and I'm honored. I'm honored.
It is an honor.
You know,
it really
part
is
of
for
your
both
life.
of us. You know,
Yes.
I really feel that for both of us. Again, talking to your audience, you got to have one. You got to have a coach. You got to have someone that
guide you through the, you know, tough times. It's important to have support. So thank you so much for being with me today.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. I hope this is not the last time that we
of course
see you.
not. It's not. And again, it's, you know, divorce is just, it's not easy.
Yes.
But it doesn't have to break you.
Right.
It doesn't have to break you. Having a coach is amazing. And I thank you. Again, I thank you. I wouldn't have been able to do it. And that's the truth. Because, you know, we say when it first begins, it's like you just don't know which way to turn, you know?
Exactly.
But it's amazing.
Exactly.
You know, it's really
and,
beautiful.
you know, I really appreciate you. I really admire you. You've been so strong through every situation you have been, you know, through. And thank you for coming all the way from Louisiana to be with me.
Yes, definitely. Houston's always going to be my home. I said I was born in Reynosa, raised in Houston, and I've lived in Louisiana for 12 years now. But
your heart is in Louisiana.
My heart's in Louisiana. But again, Texas will always be my home. I love it. I miss Houston. I live in the country now, so there's nothing around me. You know, coming to Houston again, all the traffic and all the noise.
Yes.
It's different. But it's been amazing, I have to say. It
good,
really has.
good. I'm so glad that you have found true happiness, true love, and then that you are well, and especially, you know, emotionally, you have forgiven everything in the past, and then now you just keep going, and that's a good thing, and that's a beautiful thing to see. Thank you so much for coming.
Yes,
thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
in our show today, and thank you everybody that was watching today. I really appreciate you all, and remember, my work is to help you go through the tough times in life. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. So definitely. Thank you so much. We'll see you next month again. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hablemos de relaciones y divorcio.
Esto no